Hi, it's Reggie. Welcome back to Moonlight Moments. This episode is different. It's more personal than anything I've shared before. It's not polished or wrapped up with easy answers. It's a story about love and loss. It's about what it means to lose someone you thought you'd have more time with, and how the people we love don't really leave us. Not all the way. This is about my sister Riezelle. Her laugh, her strength, her bravery, her softness underneath it all. This is about how much I miss her and how I've been learning to carry her even now. It's been the hardest year of my life, and I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to talk about it. But I wanted this story to live here, not just because it's painful, but because it's full of love too. This is episode 30 of Moonlight Moments, and I wanted to dedicate it to my sister Riezelle. She would have turned 31 this year, but instead, she'll be forever 30. So this episode is for her, to remember her, to honor her, to carry her forward. And I wanted to release this episode on a regular drop schedule, Friday, November 14th. That's also my birthday. And that timing, it wasn't random. It's my way of reflecting the very theme of this episode, the contrast, the good and the bad. Because even as I celebrate getting older, she doesn't. Even as I blow out candles, there won't be more birthdays for her. And that's heavy. But it also makes me more grateful to be here, to keep living, to keep growing, to carry her with me into every year I get. So this birthday, I'm not just celebrating myself. I'm celebrating her too, through memory, through story, through this episode. And even though this one carries a lot of weight, it also holds something else. Proof that good and bad can exist together. That even on the hardest days, there's still beauty. There's still light. So if you've lost someone, if you're grieving, if you've ever felt like the world kept going while yours fell apart, I hope this episode helps you feel less alone. So take a breath and let's begin. My husband's in the military, and that means we move around a lot. At the time of everything, we were still stationed in Fort Wayne, California, about 3 hours from Vegas, where my dad and my two sisters, Ribs and Riezelle, live. We're now at Fort Riley, Kansas, but back then we were close enough to see each other often. Riz and I didn't grow up together. Ribs and I were raised in the Philippines by our mom, and Riz grew up with our dad in the province. I think the last birthday that I remember being with her was my 7th birthday. And after that, we didn't see her for a very long time. But when we were connected, when I was 14, I believe, we got close very fast because we liked almost the same things. I always thought that we didn't grow up together, but we grew close together. Back in 2017, Rice moved with us in Texas. My husband and I were both still in the army at that time, and we didn't want to send Sky, our son, to daycare. Rice was tired of juggling multiple jobs in Vegas and she needed a break, so it just made sense. She was with me when I gave birth to Sky, and then not long after, in early 2018, she got really sick. Around February or March, she was hospitalized and diagnosed with kidney failure. That began a 5-year journey of dialysis, 3 times a week. At one point that year in 2018, after going back to Vegas, she told us that she wanted to go back home to the Philippines to rest there. That was her wish. So Sky and I flew back home to be with her. And Sky was about 7 months old. And thankfully, she changed her mind. She decided to fight. We moved to Virginia in 2019 and she came to visit us there too. Then in 2022, we got stationed in California. That brought us even closer, just a short drive away. We got to spend more time together again. And then came January 7th, 2023, a day we'll always remember. She got her kidney transplant, and it just so happened to be the same birthday as our nephew Mateo. We called them birthday twins. That day was her birthday. In April 2023, we celebrated her birthday in Disneyland. I was about 38 weeks pregnant, but we went anyway. That's how much it meant. Our whole group was there, Ribs, family, my family, and Rize. Then Luna, our daughter, was born on May 9th, 2023. And of course, Rize was part of that too. During my last few weeks of pregnancy, she'd walk with me every day, listening to K-pop, trying to help evict Luna from my belly. She was there for both my children's births. And that's honestly one reason I always say, I think I'm good with two. I can't imagine doing that without her again. She left for the Philippines to visit around August 2024 and came back around October. She even visited us for Sky's school parade for Halloween that year. And then we went to Vegas for my birthday. We watched the movie Hello Love Again. Just three of us sisters, and that's probably one of my favorite birthday celebrations. And then we all celebrated Christmas 2024 in California. And that Christmas was the last time we saw her alive. We had Mateo's early birthday celebration in Vegas the weekend before she passed. That was Thursday to Sunday. The whole family was there except for Riezelle because she wasn't feeling well. And she didn't want to risk getting more sick, so she stayed home. Sunday, we went back to Fort Irwin. And then Monday, January 6, 2025, that night, I got a call from Ribs. She told me that Riezelle's best friend had been trying to reach her, but she wasn't answering, and that wasn't like her. She never ignored her best friend's calls. So Ribs called her dad, who lived with Rize, and asked him to check on her. Then Ribs called me again, and she said, "Wala na siya. It means she's gone." I remember saying, "What do you mean she's gone?" We started crying on the phone, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was in a complete shock. My dad had found her in her room, and she had already gone cold. That night, we packed up everything and drove straight to Vegas. My husband called his supervisor, packed clothes for me and the kids. I grabbed my passport just in case we had to fly her home to the Philippines to her mom. It was just hard getting in touch with my mom because of that time difference, because she lives in the Philippines. But eventually I got through. My uncle answered the phone and I told her the news. And how do you even tell a mother her daughter is gone? That whole week was a blur. We weren't prepared for any of it, not emotionally, not financially. Ribs and I handled everything. I didn't even get to grieve properly because there were so many phone calls, arrangements, paperwork. She was with the coroner for days. I'd be crying while trying to get information on funeral homes. I'd be answering emails while barely breathing. This was my first grief, and I couldn't believe it was her after everything she survived. Her death date was January 6, 2025. Exactly 2 years after her transplant in January 7, 2023, for her birthday. We started a GoFundMe and so many people helped. Ribs co-workers, friends, strangers. I'll always be grateful. Even my online friends, my nakama from the Van Clan Productions, which is an anime reaction community, showed up for me. They sent donations, sent prayers, messaged me. These were people I just met online, whom I also consider my friends. And I get so excited when I see familiar names who donated to our GoFundMe. And I would tell Ribs, these are my friends from the reaction channel I've been telling you. Man, they only know me from the internet. And they were there when I needed them. And of course, my husband, Loy. I don't know how I would have made it through those days without him. He took care of the things I couldn't. I was able to fall apart and somewhat grieve because he was taking care of everything else. Later on, we found out that sending her body back to the Philippines would cost way more. So we have decided to have her cremated, and we didn't want to leave her like that for so long. So we thought that was the best course of action. And eventually, she went home to the Philippines around May 2025. Her funeral was mid-January in Vegas. Instead of us flying home, Mom and our dad Keith came here instead from the Philippines. They flew in just days before the service, and I'm so thankful for my dad. He booked their flight the same night we told them. He's always supported our mom, and I can't imagine what it felt like for her to lose a daughter. So I'm glad our dad is always there to support her and love her, and I'll always be grateful for all the things he's done for us. During the funeral, that was the first time I saw her body. I didn't go when Ribs and Mom visited her a few days earlier. I just couldn't. We even took family photos at Macy's holding a framed photo of her. We wore red, her favorite color. It was short, but we were all together. She brought us together, even in the end. Rize was the strong one. She had been through so much, but she always chose to fight, to survive. When she was young, when she lived with her dad, there was an accident. She survived the fire. They told us that she jumped out of the window and saved herself from the fire. And later, she survived 5 years of dialysis and still found ways to live joyfully. That's why I wanted my first tattoo to be a phoenix, to remember her. She was always rising, always fighting, always living with fire in her heart. She reminded me so much of Ace from One Piece. He had fire powers. He was strong, protective, brave. And spoiler alert, please skip if you don't want to know what happens. But she reminds me so much of Ace from One Piece. Because when he died in the series, I remember how Luffy grieved. That moment when Jinbei asked Luffy, "What do you still have left?" or something along those lines. And he remembers his friends, his crewmates. And that's what grief does. It strips everything down and makes you ask, what do I still have? And the answer is so much. I still have Ribs, my kids, my husband, my mom, my memories. I still have what's left behind. Her laugh, her shows, her music, her love. And then came April 13, 2025, her birthday, and the sign. Months before, Treasure, her favorite K-pop group, announced their US tour. And guess when their LA concert was? April 13th. Me and Ribs knew we had to go. We made it a whole trip just like she would have loved. We went to Universal Studios that morning. That was one of the places she wanted to visit. We brought her printed photo with us. At one point, we forgot her in the car. We were going down the escalator and we just looked at each other and then like, oh my god, we just left her. So we had to go back to the car and we were like, sorry, we left you. And then we took pictures with her throughout the park like she was there with us. That night, we went to the concert. We held up her photo when her husband came on stage. We screamed for her, laughed for her, celebrated for her. She's the reason we made those memories. She's the reason we still do. She's gone, but not really gone. And I just wanted to dedicate this episode for her, my forever 30 sister. I'm sure she loves that she's forever young. She will always be in our hearts and will always be remembered through her memories. Grief has a strange way of showing you everything that matters by taking something away. Before this year, I didn't really know what grief felt like. I knew sadness, I knew stress, I knew fear. But grief is its own thing. It touches every part of you, your memories, your plans, your body, your relationships, your sleep. It shows up everywhere, even in silence. And as I've moved through it, even just this first year, I've learned something I didn't expect. Grief doesn't erase joy, it makes room for more of it. It stretches you in a way that hurts and heals at the same time. You start to notice the little things again. The way sunlight feels on your face, the way your child laughs, the way someone shows up for you, quietly without being asked. You learn how to cry in one moment and laugh the next, without guilt. That's the contrast. That's what the good with the bad really means. It's not about pretending everything is okay. It's not about choosing between heartbreak and gratitude. It's about learning how to live in both. I think of Rice all the time, in K-pop songs, and anime scenes, in random quotes, in food, in moments when Luna acts stubborn or fearless, and I think, that's her auntie right there. It still hurts to see her face in a photo. It still hurts when I remember she won't finish the shows we were watching. That she'll never scream at a concert again, or eat Korean barbecue with us. But there's also this. She lived loudly, fiercely, lovingly. She survived things people don't usually survive, and she laughed through it all. Grief has a way of making you feel like you're the only one on earth carrying this kind of pain. Like nobody really understands. Not all the way. And even when people try to comfort you, it sometimes doesn't reach the part of you that's actually hurting. But the truth is, there are so many of us out here, just trying to get through the day with a quiet ache in our chest. Maybe you've lost someone too. Maybe you've had to make impossible decisions when you were still in shock. Maybe you've had to hold it all together. For your family, for your kids, for your job, while your heart was completely breaking. Grief is a language that doesn't always have words. It shows up in things people don't see, like canceling plans because your energy is gone, like hearing a song and feeling a punch in your chest, like laughing at something and then crying 5 minutes later because they would have laughed too. Or you're watching your favorite show, thinking that she'll never get to finish it. I've only learned about grief this year. I don't want to pretend to be an expert or act like I know what it's like for everyone. And I definitely don't want to downplay anyone's experience, whether it's been decades or days. But I do know this. Grief changes you. Quietly, slowly, and sometimes all at once. It makes time weird. You can be in the middle of planning a funeral and still feel like you're waiting for them to walk in the door. You might find yourself scrolling through your phone looking for messages you already know aren't coming. Or talking to a photo like it's still alive. Or feeling guilty for smiling at something funny even though that's exactly what they would have wanted. It's not always about big moments. Sometimes it's the little things that hurt the most. Like seeing a favorite snack in the grocery store. Or logging into a shared streaming account and realizing their watch list will never be updated again. For me, it was watching anime and knowing she'll never find out what. No, don't cry. I'm not gonna finish. For me, it was watching anime and knowing she'll never find out how One Piece ends. She'll never see her K-pop group in concert. She'll never walk through the front door again with that loud witchy laugh we always teased her about. And then there's the part of grief that no one really talks about. How hard it is to be the one responsible. To be the one making decisions, calling people, organizing everything while you're still in shock. We didn't have a plan. We weren't prepared for anything. There were funeral costs, documents, cremation choices, delays with death certificate. It was overwhelming. And still we showed up. We packed, we drove, we made phone calls. We kept moving even when it felt impossible. And somewhere in all of that, people showed up for us too. People from every corner of our lives. Family, co-workers, online friends, strangers who donated to our GoFundMe. People I've never met even told me they were praying for me. Friends from my anime reaction community who knows me only through a screen. They sent love anyway, and in those moments, I realized something. Grief doesn't always ask you to be strong. Sometimes it just asks you to be held. So if you're carrying something like this right now, a memory, a name, an ache you can't explain, I just want you to know you're not alone in it. You're allowed to feel messy and angry and confused. You're allowed to smile and then cry 5 minutes later. You're allowed to not know what to say when people ask how you're doing. You're just being human. And even in the middle of the hardest season of your life, there is still love. There is still joy. There is still meaning. There are still memories being made. The good and the bad, they're both here. And somehow, so are you. When you're grieving, a lot of people will ask how you're doing. And you'll probably answer with something like, I'm okay, or I'm managing, or just taking it day by day. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're not even sure how you're doing. You're just doing. If you're in that space, here are a few gentle things you can try. Not to fix anything, but to make room for your feelings to breathe. 1. Let the contrast exist. You can feel heavy and still laugh. You can cry and still find joy. You can miss someone and still show up for the people who are here. There's no need to choose between sadness and gratitude. Life holds both. So let yourself be a full human being. There's no right way to grieve. There's no perfect timeline. You can plan a funeral and still have a moment where you just sit outside and feel the sun on your face. That's not betrayal. That's being alive. 2. Create small ways to honor them. It doesn't have to be big. It could be a photo frame on the console, a playlist, a candle, a tattoo, or a tradition, like walking in their favorite place or watching something they loved. For me, it's keeping her K-pop light stick next to her mangas. It's remembering the laugh that echoed through her house. It's buying food she would have loved and spoiling her with it, even now in spirit. These little acts of memory help carry the person with you. They remind you that even though they're not physically here, their essence still is. 3. Don't rush your healing. Some days will feel manageable. Some days will feel unbearable. Some days you'll surprise yourself. Let it be what it is. Grief has no finish line. It comes and goes like waves. You don't have to be over it to be okay. Sometimes all you can do is take care of what's right in front of you. Sometimes that means doing laundry. Sometimes that means sitting on the floor and crying. It's okay. You are not behind. 4. Lean on your people, especially the quiet ones. There's a certain kind of strength in being the eldest, the one who steps up, the one who organizes everything. But even the strong ones need holding. Let your partner help. Let your sister cry with you. Let your online community message you weird memes that made you laugh through tears. Let someone else feed the kids while you sit in silence for 10 minutes. You don't always have to be the one holding everyone together. Sometimes strength is found in letting others hold you. 5. Make space for new joy, even if it feels complicated. You might find yourself laughing at something and then immediately crying because it reminds you of them. You might plan something fun and wonder if you should even enjoy it. But you can. Going to Universal Studios with her, photo in hand, screaming at a concert for her favorite band. That's not denial, that's love. That's you saying, I carry you with me. Joy doesn't mean forgetting. Joy doesn't mean moving on. Joy is just proof that their love is still shaping your life in beautiful ways. You can live through grief and still say yes to life. You can be heartbroken and still hold hope. You can walk through a valley and still find stars overhead. Whatever this season looks like for you, just know you're doing better than you think. You are healing in ways you can't always see. And there is so much love waiting to meet you in the days ahead. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Wherever you are right now, whatever time of day it is, whatever the light looks like where you are, this moment is just for you. Let your shoulders drop, unclench your jaw, unfurl your hands. Feel the weight of your body being held by the surface beneath you. No need to hold yourself up right now. Just be. And in the stillness, bring someone to mind. Someone you've lost, someone you miss, someone whose voice you can still hear in your head. Let them come forward gently. See their face not in grief but in joy, in laughter, and the small moments you loved. Maybe they're teasing you, maybe they're singing, maybe they're just with you. Notice how it feels in your body when you remember them. Is there warmth, a lump in your throat, a soft ache in your chest? Whatever is here, let it be here. There is no right way to remember. Now imagine a light forming between you, a golden thread connecting you to them, not pulling, not holding you down, just gently tying your heart to theirs. You don't need to let go of them. You can carry them in this way. You can let them walk beside you in the food you eat, in the songs you sing, in the stories you tell, in the way you choose to live a little braver. You don't have to forget them to move forward. Now take one more breath. This time as you inhale, whisper in your mind, I still have love. And as you exhale, say, I carry you with me. Let that be the rhythm for a moment. I still have love. I carry you with me. You may not have all the answers. You may not feel whole yet, but you're still here, still breathing, still healing. And that in itself is a quiet kind of miracle. You are not broken. You are becoming. And somewhere in the space between the good and the bad, there is still light. Thank you for walking with me through this story. Thank you for sitting in the quiet parts, in the heavy parts, and the soft ones too. It means more than I can say. This episode wasn't easy to tell, but it was something I needed to do. For Riezelle, for me, and maybe for you too. Grief changes things. It shows up when you least expect it. It makes ordinary things feel sacred. It teaches you how to live differently, how to love differently. It reminds you that there is no clean line between sorrow and joy. They exist together. They always have. You don't have to wait until the grief is gone to start living again. You can carry the heartbreak and still show up for joy. You can feel the weight of absence and still let light in. There's no perfect way to do this, but if you're showing up however that looks for you, that's enough. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening, for witnessing, for being part of this space where we can hold both the good and the bad side by side. This was episode 30, dedicated to my sister who will be forever 30. Follow Moonlight in Moments wherever you listen, and share it with someone who might need a little light today. Until next time, and as always, love yourself better than yesterday.
Woke up with your name in the air again. Memory dancing like it never ends. Got your laugh in the back of my mind. Even going used to pull up right on time. Some nights I cry, some days I glow. Missing you quietly, nobody knows. But I feel you when the music plays. Like you're here just in a different way. You're still with me, in the good and the bad, even in silence. It don't feel that sad. You left light in the room, now I live in there. You're still with me, and I'm good with that. You're still with me, Photos on the shelf, can't press rewind. But I hear your voice when I close my eyes. Treasure tracks still play in the car, and I scream your part like you're not that far. Some days hit hard, some I survive, but you show up in the simplest signs. A laugh, a line, a breeze on my skin. It's like losing you, let the love begin. You're still with me, in the good and the bad, even in silence. It don't feel that sad. You left light in the room, now I live in there. You're still with me, and I'm good in the bad. You're still with me, in the good and the bad, even in silence. It don't feel that sad. You left light in the room, now I live in there. You're still with me, I'll keep your playlist running. You're not here, but you're something. Like a song I'll keep humming, like a dream that keeps coming. So don't worry, I got you. Every step I